Welcome to the Psychic Pinup Podcast, the anything and everything spiritual podcast where we dive into hot topics, readings, viewer questions, and more. Thank you for tuning in. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive right into it.
Welcome to the Anything and Everything Spiritual Podcast, where I will speak pretty much about anything and everything spiritual. I'm your host, Linda. I'm also known as the Psychic Pinup, and I'm so excited to share today's episode with you. This is one that has been sitting with me for a couple of weeks as I needed to process what I have just been through. But it's also something that's very close to my heart, and I will be speaking from my heart when I speak about my experience. But it also comes from a place of silence. And you can hear that there, the silence. That's right, today we're diving into stillness, what it's like to attend a silent retreat, what meditation really means when you're in that space, what I learned when the outer world went quiet and the inner world got loud. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's get right into it. So I just have to start off with the question, and some people do ask me this, what is a silent retreat? Well, a silent retreat is a period of time, anywhere from a weekend to 10 days or more, where participants commit to complete silence. That means no talking, no phones, no reading, no eye contact, no gestures. It's a secret container to remove distraction and to go inward. But it's not just about being quiet. It's about making space for self-awareness. When you stop filling the space with outside noise, you begin to hear the inner dialogue more clearly. And that's why I talk about how the outside world got quiet and the inner got really loud. Now, a common misconception is that this kind of retreat is peaceful from the start. Well, let me tell you, no, it's not peaceful. It is, but it's not. Let me share with you my experience with this silent retreat. A lot of people have asked me where I did this retreat. Now, I'm very, very lucky to live less than 5 minutes from the largest Buddhist temple in the Southern Hemisphere. It's called Nantian Temple. And this is a place that I have been visiting on and off over the last 8 years. Actually, it was at the beginning of my journey, my spiritual journey, and that's where I started to learn meditation and basic Buddhist classes, and it got me to where I am today as a psychic medium. I had to experience that to go on to experience other modalities to get to where I am today and to be the person that I am today. But I've always been interested in doing this weekend silent retreat, and it's just never been the right time for me. I've always had clashing timetables and schedules, and finally a window opened up and the opportunity was there, so I grabbed it. Now, this retreat required us to turn up at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, and we were given keys to our room. We all had our own individual rooms. We're all given keys and a uniform. Yes, a uniform. I was given a uniform of grey pants and a grey tunic top, and that was my uniform for the weekend. Oh, and also I can't forget the badge that I had to wear on my uniform. Basically that I was taking a vow of noble silence for the weekend. So it was, people knew that they weren't to speak to me, so I wasn't forced to answer back to people, which I found very interesting. But it was the first few hours I found a little bit confronting because I am so used to talking or making eye contact with people, hand gestures. It's in my nature. It was something that I had to pull back on. But by lunchtime, I had the hang of it and I was loving it. And it's the insight is phenomenal, what I experienced. I would say the first couple of hours, well, for me personally, I can't speak for anybody else. And by the way, there was 22 people at this retreat. And by the end of the weekend, I still did not say one word to them. So I don't even know what anybody's story was. But I will say that there was this, for me personally, there was this awkwardness in not talking. It was like I was missing something essential, if that makes sense. But slowly that gave way to a new kind of rhythm. I found that by the afternoon, the silence became a mirror. I began noticing how often my mind wandered and how critical I could be of myself, how fast I usually moved through life, and in silence, I couldn't run from it. By the next morning, I'd say that something had shifted in me. The different forms of meditation that they introduced us to over that weekend, not only sitting in silence and breathing, but the monks introduced us to walking meditation, not just normal walking, but a slow walking meditation where you really had to concentrate on lifting your foot up and bringing it right through in slow motion and placing a heel down and then through to the toe and then lifting your other leg up and repeating that process. And that act in itself was the concentration alone took your mind from anything else that could be running through your head at that time. Try it one day. Try it. I'll just ask you, try. Even the act of eating was a meditation. That was an experience in itself for me also. Because how many of us, when we sit down, we have a meal, we automatically start speaking to the person opposite us or the people around us who are sharing the table? Well, here we were in this hall where, again, complete silence. You walked in, you stood behind your chair, you waited, you bowed to Buddha, you were instructed to sit. Table by table was directed to go up and serve yourself some food, but only enough that you will finish it. You could always go back for seconds, but you go back down and sit down. And you sit there, and the monks insisted on us chewing each mouthful of food at least 20 times and reflecting on the food that you are eating and being grateful for that food that you are eating before you swallowed. Very interesting. And I find myself actually practicing that now still a couple of weeks down the track after doing the retreat. The Saturday night was very, very interesting. We had dinner. 6 p.m. was dinner. And then we were to meet at the conference hall there at the temple for 7 p.m. for what they call doodle time. In we go. Another monk sits us down and explains to us all about shapes, patterns, doodling. And then we were instructed to spend the next 45 minutes just drawing circles on a bit of paper. Big circles, little circles, a circle within a circle, circles that form patterns. But the whole concept behind that was to concentrate on drawing that perfect circle and being present, drawing that perfect circle. Then another one and another one. And that is meditation. That's all I could concentrate on, was drawing the perfect circle. It actually made me very, very tired. I got so sleepy and all I wanted to do was sleep. It was like, I felt like I was literally nodding off drawing circles. We had that until 8 p.m. Then from 8 p.m. we go back down to the meditation hall, where we sat with another monk for an hour of meditation before bed. Now, this meditation itself, this is when me as a medium, I started to experience things I'd never experienced before. And I started seeing energy. I started seeing visions. I started seeing movement in thin air. The energy, I could see it because my mind was so focused on the task that I started seeing energy. I'll tell you what, that meditation, it put me in such a peaceful, calming environment, and I was so present with the here, the now, that when we went off to our room for the evening, I settled straight down. I had no phone to look at. I had no watch. I did not even wear a watch in. So I had no access to technology at all over that weekend. I did not even take a book in with me. I thought if I was doing this, I was doing this properly. The next morning, 5:40 a.m, the clapper's going through. We have this wooden clapper go through up and down the hallway, up, bang, 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 up and down the hallway to wake us up, for us to meet at 6 a.m. up to the temple, where the monks were ringing the bell and drumming the drum, calling to chant. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in such a long time, and I can't believe that I only live 5 minutes from this. 6 a.m, it is still dark, the stars are still in the sky, you can see the sun trying to come up. You've got these monks in their beautiful robes ready. We are in this beautiful big temple, and then the chanting starts. And that chanting went on for, I think, about 45 minutes. And it was the most phenomenal thing I've ever experienced. The vibration, you could feel the vibration from this chanting going through the bit of paper that you were holding with the chant, right up through my hands, up into my body. And again, I've never experienced anything like that before. I'm starting to wonder if I did not do all that meditation the day before, where I was to the point where I was present, as to whether I would feel the vibration. If you ever get a chance to do this, to go and experience the chant, please go and do that. It's something not to be missed. It's something that should be on a bucket list. Now, that was just a quick little snippet of what I did experience during that retreat. There was so much more that went on, so many different forms of other types of meditation, as well as basic Buddhism classes, which I found very refreshing and I love dearly. But it brings me back to the question about meditation and what meditation really means. And I'm looking at it in comparison to what I just experienced at that silent retreat, as to people who work in the spiritual industry, whether it be psychic mediums, Reiki, sound healing, anything that's connected with spiritual work and meditation. I will say this, before the retreat, meditation was something that I did. After the retreat, it became something I am. Meditation isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about watching them with gentleness. And this is something that the monks kept explaining to us throughout our meditation. We always have thoughts pop into our head, and they say, that's okay. Acknowledge it, let it go. Meditation, it's about coming back to the breath again and again and again. And it's about noticing how your awareness expands when you're no longer caught in every mental movie playing in your head. And that is something that I am guilty of. And I know a lot of you also are as well. Now, I have spoken about drawing meditation, walking meditation. We also went through Tai Chi, which is another form of meditation again. But I'm going to bring back to the one basic technique that we are all familiar with. And that's the breathing awareness. Inhale. Exhale. No judgment. No story. Just being. So all in all, I also learned how powerful the body is as a meditation anchor. Walking slowly, eating mindfully, feeling each step, each bite. All forms of meditation. All forms. So now, the next time I have somebody say to me, I can't meditate, I will have a different answer for them. We can all meditate to some form. We just need to find the right one. So, how am I after the retreat? I'm fantastic. But I must say that when we left the retreat on the Sunday afternoon, now mind you, this was only a 2-day retreat. And in that space of time, I managed to rewire my brain a little bit, which I find fascinating in itself. So coming back to the real world, I should not say the real world because what I just experienced was the real world also. Coming back to normal day-to-day life there, I'd have to say that I was a little bit overstimulated with the noises and the actions and the comings and the goings and everything going on around me. But I came back with tools to work with. And they are a daily meditation practice. I used to meditate quite regularly, but now I make a point of doing it every day, if not more than once a day. I will meditate of a morning before my day starts. I get up before the sun is up and I sit in silence, and that's the start of my day. I'm also more aware of my inner state. And I've also now have a deep respect for silence and solitude. So I've found I have gone a little bit within myself, and I may have become a little bit insular, and it's just me processing at the moment. But I will say I have also come back with a stronger connection to myself. My intuition, yes, my intuition is definitely more louder, more intact, more sharp, if that makes sense. My energy level is up. And I've realized that silence isn't something you need to experience on a retreat. It's something that you can actually carry within here and do it as a daily practice. And that is something that I am consciously doing each day now. I have changed a lot of my habits, my patterns for the better, I'd like to think. But I will say, if you've ever considered attending a silent retreat, I would so encourage you to go. Just go. Don't think. Just do go. It won't be easy, but my God, it will be worth it. Even one day in silence can shift something inside you. I know that the Nantian temple do hold one day silent retreats if you don't think that you could handle a weekend, and it's also a nice little taster, which I would encourage you, if you are local, to go to. If not, and if you can't attend a full retreat right now, somehow try to create just a pocket of silence in your life somewhere throughout the day. Even if it does mean that you have to get up early of a morning. And at the moment, I have friends of mine that think I'm a little bit crazy because I get up at 5 a.m. But this is a new habit that I'm getting into. But if you do this, you can sit there, turn everything off, turn off the phone, sit, breathe and listen. And here's a thought for you. Silence isn't empty. That's right. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. So just think about that. If you've got any questions about what I experienced at the retreat, or if you'd like to know a little bit more about this silent retreat, by all means, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer questions. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me for this episode. If you found it helpful or inspiring, share it with someone who might need a little stillness in their life. So until next time, take care, stay grounded, and keep coming back to your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Take care.
You have been listening to Linda, the Psychic Pinner. Linda is a psychic medium based on the New South Wales south coast of Australia. You can connect with her via her website, thepsychicpinup.com.au, or join her on her weekly live feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all under the same name, The Psychic Pinup. Thanks for listening.